All right, and it looks like we are live. Hey everyone, I hope you are having an awesome Tuesday. I'm excited, especially for tonight, because we have some brand new folks with us who are really excited and going to do a great job helping us learn about how to get a job. They've got a bunch of stuff lined up for us in the next few weeks, and I know I've told so many of you guys about this new series and how awesome it's going to be. So super excited. I'm glad you guys are here. If you are here, you know the drill. You go ahead and check in and let me know how you're doing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I wanted to introduce you guys to Josh and Lindsay Brackett. They are some awesome people that we got in touch with. I guess it was about a month ago. It could have been more. You'll have to forgive me. This month and last month kind of run together for me personally. But yeah, they're excited to share what they've developed, and they did it just for you guys. They have people in their life that are very similar to y'all. So they know what's up and they know what they're doing. And we're going to learn a lot. It's going to be awesome. So I will give them the space to introduce themselves here in just a moment. But I see I got 4 people with us. So hey, say hey if you're here.
Hey, Gabriel.
Gabriel, hi.
Brianna, Karen.
Look at all these people.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I love it.
Ooh, Gabby. Is that Gabriel? Is Gabriel?
Yep.
Hi, Gabby.
Yeah, I know her as Gabby. That's why when I saw Gabriel, I was a little bit confused. But hey, Gabby, I know who it is now.
There we go. And Bree.
Yeah, we got Bree, Gabby, Karen. I better take attendance because there's a lot of y'all.
We're watching the chat, so you guys feel free, put anything in there, ask questions. We'll try to stop, answer them as we go. All right, ready?
All right. So before we get started, wanted to, and Josh and Lindsay, you'll have to forgive me if I accidentally talk over you guys. I think with the audio on my end, I can only hear like one person at a time. So if I'm speaking, I don't think I can hear you guys. So just forewarning on that. But hello, everyone. I see 6 people and I've got attendance for 3 of y'all. Okay, me and Deidre are 2. So whoever this one person is, I want to know who you are because I want you to get in the drawing to win a TV and also to get a $25 gift card. But welcome, guys. Glad you're here. You can always check in, which is just type something in the chat about what's going on in your life, how you're doing, something weird from your day. It doesn't matter. But I do have a quick announcement. Wanted to let you guys know that we have, oh, there's Josh in the chat. Hello. We have a person named Emily who is with Immerse, and she has a really cool thing that she wants to do for free for you guys. Like I said, her name is Emily, and she wants to offer singing lessons once a week for free. So if you are like me and are interested in singing but can't do it, you might be a good fit. If you think you're a horrible singer and want to get better, this might be a cool thing to do. If you're really good at singing and just want to know more about it and want to improve your skills, it also could be a good opportunity. So she is doing it once a week. It's totally free. She's going to do it on Zoom. I know a lot of you guys have Zoom accounts, which reminds me, here in just a minute, I will put the Zoom link in the chat so that whoever wants to join on Zoom is able to do that. But she's thinking that she's going to be doing these singing lessons on Thursdays for about 30 minutes. And her time is probably going to be between like 5 and 6:30. So that means you might be with her 5 to 5:30, 5:30 to 6. You know, you get it. So yes, if you're interested in doing that, let me know. However, we are looking for people that are really, really going to be serious about it. Emily is looking for people who are really going to commit to being there once a week. So if you're maybe a little bit interested, you might want to reach out to me or to Deidre and maybe get some more info about it. But if you are ready to do it and you want to commit, that is perfect. You need to let me know as well. And you can put that in the chat if you want. So, but yes, let me go ahead and, oh, there's Regina and Michael. Hello,
Hey,
hello.
Regina and Michael.
All right. We got 5 people. Perfect. Okay, let me get the Zoom link real quick. Y'all give me a moment. I'm gonna find it. Josh, do you want to elaborate on your weird thing from the day?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So we do presentations kind of all day long, and I was at Baptist Health, which is where I work full time. We'll talk about that. But my coworkers were presenting, and I'm kind of the IT guy also, so I get everything set up. And something wasn't working right, but the camera, there was no way for me to miss the camera, so I had to crawl on the floor over to the computer to not get in the camera. And yes, I was wearing this outfit, so I was crawling on the floor, and they couldn't help but laugh and just stare at me.
That is hilarious. I saw something similar on Instagram not too long ago. I think it was a pastor that was giving a sermon on Zoom, and like there was a church member in a suit that was crawling in the background, except you could see it. You could see him on the live stream. You could see him crawling, and he thought that no one could see him, so it was really funny. But that is a very funny and interesting part of the day. I love that so much. All right, I'm gonna go back to the Zoom window so that I can see if any of you guys are trying to join us.
Ooh, somebody else joined. There's 8.
Okay, now hold on a second. I'm trying to view this full screen. Do you see someone trying to join the Zoom?
No?
No? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. If you do join the Zoom, let me know, because I'm not seeing, because it usually gives me a notification of, hey, someone wants in. I'm not seeing that. Because I got it on this really small window and I can't figure out how to get it larger. So that's kind of weird. But okay, it's fine. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Lindsay and Josh. Take it away, guys.
Thank you. And thank you guys for letting us be here with you and join the community. We're really excited about this series. We are going to start off our series with Standing Out from the Crowd 1.0. We were originally going to have tips for job applications and for resumes all in one, but we had so much good content for you guys on just job applications that we'll do a 2.0 next week on building your resume and some resume tips. But this whole series will be about getting a job, sticking to a job, and just some really like practical professional tips. So Josh and I mean, this is us and this is us, but we have a company called Legacy FM. And we actually, and the FM stands for facilities management. We work in healthcare facilities management. And if you don't know what facilities management is, and I did it not too long ago, it's the group of people that keep your buildings running. And so if you think about a hospital and how big a hospital is and how complicated and complex the hospital is, they're all the people in the basement or working outside or providing housekeeping that really keep the building and the hospital running. And so we train them with computer training, or sometimes it's classroom or even in the field training. And we develop and deliver custom training programs for healthcare facilities management team. And we call it legacy because we like to think that we are helping to build a legacy. So even after we're gone or the company's gone, we will have taught other people who will taught other people, and we'll continue to build that legacy. So this is us. Last summer, we celebrated our 2-year anniversary. We get to celebrate 3 years in 2021. So I know 2020 was a hard year, but this is something that we got to celebrate as a company. So we do focus on empowerment. You know, we are an adult learning company, but we say that we really are an empowerment company. Even though we provide education and training services, we really look to empower adults, and specifically in this field, to be better at work, to perform better, to be more confident in their abilities, to have the skills and the training they need to be successful. Because we believe it just takes one opportunity, one chance, one moment to change your entire life trajectory. And so if we can bring that to someone, then we will jump at the opportunity to do it. So we are all about empowerment. And if you ever follow us on our social media, you'll see that we end all of our posts in #empowerment, because that's how much we love that word. All right, so like I said, today we're focused on job applications. I love it if you want to type any questions in the chat. If you join the Zoom, we can chat there too. We definitely want to answer any and all questions related to job applications. So not only do we train people, we train adults as part of our company, but we also hire people. And so we're also going to share with you some of the things that we want to see as hiring managers when someone's applying for a job at our company. So the first thing we're going to talk about is research. You have to put in the effort and the time if you get really excited about a job. And we'll give you some tips on how to research well. And so that way you're not just wasting your time and trying to figure out what you should put on your application, but you're really making that research work for you. We'll also talk about keywords. A lot of organizations and companies use these tracking softwares that look at your application against the job posting, and they're looking for a percentage of a match. So any keywords they have in their job posting, they want to see that in your application. And so we'll talk about a really neat trick on packing in those words into your application. And then of course, we'll talk about quality control, because the last thing you want to do is put all that research and effort in and then have a glaring mistake or error in your application, because that can be a deal breaker. Okay, so the first thing that you should know is that there's more resources and sources to find a job than you probably think. I mean, of course, you have the classics, you know, the newspaper postings. I remember looking at a newspaper when I was a teenager trying to find a job. I doubt very many people do that anymore. When I looked for jobs for myself, I've looked on LinkedIn. It's a really good resource to do that. They have even like I'm open for work, so people know that you're searching for a job. Other social medias too, you can try and find, like Facebook. I know they'll push jobs on Facebook. You can go to a company's career page and just see if they have any job postings. So we, as a company, will do that. We'll post jobs on our career page so people can just apply right there. Career fairs are awesome. Josh was hired at a career fair, and I ended up coming and getting a job with him at the same company. So, you know, anytime you see a career fair, I know Little Rock has them occasionally, I would encourage you to take advantage of that, because the great thing about going to a career fair is it doesn't have to be awkward. Like you want a job, they're trying to find people so they can hire them to give them a job. And so it's really just a crazy, weird way of speed dating, right? So everyone's there for the same reason, is to get a job or find a job. You can also call your Chamber of Commerce and see if they have any leads for you, or your unemployment office is another classic resource. Some search engines that you might be familiar with. I know there's a ton of them out there, but Indeed, Monster, ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, all of those are really great websites whenever you're trying to find a job, and you can put in your criteria that you're working for. You know, if you have a GED or just a high school education, or maybe partial college credit, you can put all of that criteria in there. Or if there's a specific job that you're looking for or location, you can start to narrow down your search in those search engines. Okay, so you need to read the job description. And I know this sounds very obvious, but you would be surprised at how many times someone thinks they know what they're applying for, but they miss like a sentence or a key phrase, and they get to the interview and they're like, wait, I gotta do what? I didn't know that. You want me to work weekends? I can't work weekends. Or I gotta be there at 7? I can't be there at 7. So just make sure that you really read what you're applying for, because you don't want to put in that effort and get all the way to the interview just to find out that there's part of the job that's not going to work for you. And it's also, as a hiring manager, if we think you didn't read the job description, then that's just a really easy way to cut you, because we're getting, all sorts of applications every day for the job. And so if it seems like, well, this person really didn't read it, or they didn't have all the information, like we've asked for sample work before, like we want a portfolio of your sample work. If someone doesn't include sample work and they just do an application, then we're automatically just going to reject them because they didn't take the time to read the job description. And that tells us that they're not taking the job seriously. You've also got to do your homework. Homework is not just for school, it's also for getting a job. So one of the best things you can do is, if you get excited about a job or you think you're interested in a job, is go to that company's website and learn as much about them as you can. And I know a lot of people do this for an interview. They might go to the website and learn more about the company, but you really want to do this in your job application. And we're going to show you an example of that. And the reason why is because if you can talk about their mission statement or some of their core values, or if you go to their social media page and you can see some of the different projects they're working on or what they're doing in the community, or maybe they're doing like service projects, like you could talk about that in your job application as like, hey, I know that you guys volunteer once a month at the homeless shelter. I've really been wanting to do that for a long time, and I think I would be a great asset to your team in that way. And at least it shows them that you're taking the time to add in those personal touches. Okay, so this is a pretty interesting fact. So men typically will apply for a job if they qualify for 60% of the requirements. So if they can meet 60% of the requirements, and they'll go ahead and apply for that job. Women are more cautious, typically. Women will typically only apply for a job if they meet all of the requirements. They satisfy 100% of the requirements. And there's been a few books about this, actually. This was a research study that was done by Hewlett Packard, the computer company. And they took a survey of men and women and gauge at what point they would apply for a job. And so sometimes it was concluded that women don't apply for a job unless they're 100% qualified because they're not confident in their ability, where men kind of, they have a tendency to peacock a little bit. They puff out, they're more confident. They think they're more confident in their skills than they might actually be. But more often than not, what I personally think the real reason is that you don't apply for a job because if you're not qualified, you don't want to waste your time and energy, right? Like if you're looking at a job and you're like, well, I'm not qualified for that. Job applications take time and they can be really hard. So I get it. If you don't completely qualify for a job, you might not want to waste your time and energy. But there might be some times when you should reconsider. And Josh is going to talk about some of those times.
Yeah. So some things that you want to do, like if you think that I may not qualify for that job, or I may not, it's not really what I was looking for, or whatever. The thing is, if you're really excited about the job, then, and you have some level of transferable skills, then you should apply for it. And those skills could be a variety of different things. But that's really what you need to be looking for, is what kind of skills have you done in the past? Maybe you're wanting to work at a hospital, working as a patient tech, and you have some babysitting experience. Well, there's some skills there that are transferable. You have cared for others, you have a caring personality, and you can transfer that to like healthcare. So if you have a direct connection with somebody at the place you're working, you can always use that and say, hey, will you recommend me to somebody internal at the company, whoever the hiring manager is? Will you put in a good word for me, or can I use you as a reference? We'll talk about references in a little bit. And then sample projects or portfolios. Even if you're not, even if you don't meet 100% of the qualifications, if you meet about 75 or so, let's say you're a photographer and for fun, you do photography as a hobby, and you want to expand and be a full-time photographer, maybe just starting out, then provide sample photos as part of your portfolio when you send in your application. And that shows that you're going kind of above and beyond what they're looking for. And hey, I'm proud of what I'm doing, and I think that I could be a good resource for you. And Lindsay and I love this one. So this is big. We love reading over people's cover letters or in their applications where you can tell that they are enthusiastic. They included something about the company or about what we're doing, or I believe in your mission. I really like what Legacy FM is doing in the industry. I want to be a part of your team. If you show that enthusiasm, sometimes that'll get you through to that interview stage. Sometimes the most qualified or the most experienced people aren't the right fit for the team. They're not the right fit for the culture. And companies are really starting to look more at this. Is this person the right fit for what we're looking for? So just because you're not the most qualified doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to get a shot. So be enthusiastic when you are applying for your jobs.
Yeah, so one thing I would also add to this is whenever you're reading a job posting, think of it not so much as a checklist. They have that list of requirements. Don't really think of that as a checklist so much as a wish list. Because I know that when I've written job descriptions and job postings, I knew that I wanted someone, I needed help, but I wasn't entirely sure of what I needed until I met that person. And so if you get to the right company and you find a hiring manager that's open-minded, if you think of it more of like a wish list and say, hey, I know you want this, but I can also add this, or I just, give me a chance. I'm a hard worker. I'm quick to learn. Here's some of my example work, or here's how I think I can help. That gets you a long way. That can really pay off, especially if you're excited about it. Okay, this is the kicker. And this can be, you apply for the job, and even if you meet all of the job requirements, you might get one of those automatic emails. Thank you, we've received a lot of qualified applicants. We're not going to take you to the next round. Usually when that happens, it's because you didn't have a high enough percentage in your application against the job posting. Most employers use an applicant tracking system, and this just helps them save time, because I'm telling you, reading through job applications and resumes takes a lot of time. Then you've got to schedule them, do the interviews. And so this is just a really quick solution that employers use as that first gate in the door. So for example, if your job application doesn't have like an 80% match, and I'm throwing that number out there, but let's say it's not an 80% match or higher to the job posting, then you'll automatically get denied. And it could be so simple. It could be something as simple as like copy and paste the job posting, but instead you wrote transfer the job posting. Like you could basically be the same thing, but because you didn't use the keyword, you were rejected. Okay, so we're gonna run through a quick example of what that could look like. Okay, so let's say you're looking for a job. You think you want to work at maybe Baptist Health. They're a large healthcare system. You want to work at a hospital because they have great benefits, right? You got like great healthcare benefits on top of everything else, and you feel like it's going to be good hours for your schedule. So let's say you type in Baptist Health job openings. That's just like a really simple Google search. So when you do that, all of this is going to pull up. and you can go directly to their careers page. And we talked about that, where you can just go ahead and click on their careers page and start looking. Or sometimes you can just start browsing through the open job postings right here in Google. And then you could click on office rep and just see what that's about. This one is actually posted on Glassdoor. We talked about Glassdoor in the beginning. And so it'll have things in there, about the job. You'll see a rating about the company. You might see some information about estimated salary. So all of that will be right there. All right, so let's say we're going to click on the careers page. So we click on their careers page and we select apply today. And that's going to take us right to this search engine. So we click on apply today, and this is a lot of information. So again, we're going to treat this like a Google search, right? And we're going to type in a keyword. So we type in housekeeping. Another word for housekeeping is like environmental services or an ES technician. But let's say, based on your skills and where you are at in life, you feel like you could do housekeeping and commit to that type of job. You can also use this filter bar over here, and you could click like part-time, full-time. Maybe you want to work at Baptist Health, but you don't want to work at like Baptist Health Conway, like that's too far, or Baptist Health Arkadelphia. You want to work in like Little Rock or North Little Rock because that's closer to your home or your bus commute or wherever, whatever the case may be. So you can also narrow it down by location. Okay, so let's say you click on this posting. It's for an ES Tech 1. You're reading through the description. You're like, okay, you prefer high school diploma or GED, but that's not required. Cool. All right, so we see full-time. You need a full-time job. You're trying to make some money, 7 to 3:30. Okay, that's good. It's a little early, but like you get your nights, right? And you're like, okay, I think I can do this. So you could go ahead and click apply right here, or you could even heart it and save it for later. So you can love it, and then whenever you log back in later on, you can see all the ones that you saved, and that way you can still go back and do your research and whatever you need to do. Whenever you hit apply, you can also start an application, and there's an option to submit it and then just to save it. And it's always a good idea to save it before you submit it so you can go back and read it later. Don't get all speedy and just try to knock it out. I know it's very tempting, but go ahead and save it and then come back later and read it. Okay. So what you want to do is I talked to you about those keywords, right? So you're going to copy and paste the responsibilities, the description of the job directly from their posting. Oh, I didn't include these first few words because they're not relevant. We don't need those. Okay, and then I went to wordcloud.com, and you can use any free word cloud search engine. I just chose to use word cloud. You could install this. You don't have to. You can just click wizard to get started. So don't get tempted to install it on your computer. Just hit wizard. Okay, and then it gives you these options. We copied it from the job posting, right? So we're just going to paste it in here. Boom. Pasted it into the window. You hit apply, and this thing comes up. So what this does and why this is helpful is it pulls out all of the keywords from the posting, but the bigger the word, the more important it is. So what's the biggest thing we see? Hospital. So we know no matter what, we need to include the word hospital. That's important. And then we're going to try to include as many of these other words as we can. Now remember, I don't have to work in a hospital or have any hospital experience to include the word hospital, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so we're going to include hospital and experience and control, disinfect, projects, special, established, guest, safe, assigned, enhance, infection, environment, standards, tech, clean, areas, and patients. Let's see if we can do it. Oh,
Oh.
and Baptist.
I think we should have checked the words that like weren't in there.
So we're gonna fit all of these words into our job application.
Watch this. Watch this.
Okay. So I said you don't have to have any hospital experience to still use the word hospital. So even if you have experience cleaning your home, and I hope you do, a retail or a grocery store or anything like that, then make it clear that you have cleaning experience, that you really want to work in a hospital. And then say why you want to work in a hospital. You want to care for people. You like the environment. You like their mission, whatever it is that you specifically want to work in a hospital. And you can put that in your resume objectives and a cover letter if you include one, or maybe you do like an introduction or a follow-up email or something about yourself. Just make it clear that you want to work in a hospital. That's like a sneaky way to get that word in there. Okay, so what you could do under work experience. Now remember, the job title is Environmental Services Tech. So I could call myself an Environmental Services Tech of my home, or maybe I helped my mom out at work, or maybe I cleaned up, at the retail store or the grocery store, whatever. Go ahead, you can use Environmental Services Tech, or you can use whatever your job title was. I would encourage you to use Environmental Services Tech, and then later you can say I was called like a floor manager or a floor tech or something. But that way, at least you have like a stronger match. Okay, so in this one we said, I am confident that my current skill set is an excellent match for the Environmental Services Tech position at Baptist Health. And I have extensive experiences performing tasks to disinfect and clean various areas. And I understand how cleanliness reduces the risk of infections to patients in a hospital. I take pride in my ability to enhance a guest experience by making it special and the environment safe. I have established quality control standards that I apply to every project to which I am assigned. Okay, guys, this could simply be saying, I was an environmental services tech at my mom's house, or my family's house, my grandma's, and my grandma would tell me to clean the kitchen after dinner, and I had quality control standards because I made sure all of those plates were clean. And that's it. Like, you're not lying, but you're just thinking of a way of taking what you're good at, what you have experience doing, and transferring those skills to this position. All right, make sense?
Yes, this is awesome.
Okay, all right, good. Are you going?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So don't get caught playing the field. This one's important. So sometimes, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, but make sure that you customize your resume to the job you're applying for. Don't just copy paste from a previous one. We've seen this a couple of times where we really, really like the person, but they said, "Dear hiring manager, I'm really excited to apply for your job at Target instead of Legacy FM or something like that." So, and that happens. It really does. And it kind of just deflates us. We're like, nope. you were great. Had a lot going for you, but it's that first impression, right? It's taking that first impression and making sure that you are customizing it to the person. It's just like what we're doing in the chat. We want to connect with you. That's what we're trying to do. We want to say, "Hey Regina, how are you? Hey Bree, how are you? Hey Gabby, how's it going?" We want to connect, and that's exactly what you're doing here. So make sure you're trying to connect with them.
Yeah, don't call them by someone else's name, guys.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, and typos. Typos are an absolute deal breaker. So this actually did happen to Lindsay and I. Somebody spelled her name wrong in the cover letter, and it's just kind of like, that's not cool. So make sure you reread it. Take a break. It's always great. Like, go to bed. Go to bed. Wake up the next morning. Look at it again and see if there's a big difference. And your eyes can really help you after they're relaxed. Sometimes you will see something with fresh eyes that you didn't see before. And this really helped me. I am not great at grammar, y'all. Spelling, grammar, that's not my thing. I'm an engineer. I'm good at math. I'm not good at English. It's not my thing. So Lindsay said, hey, I'm noticing some grammar mistakes in some of your emails and stuff. Why don't you download Grammarly, which is a free resource that you can use kind of not only for spell checks, but it also provides grammar recommendations as well, making sure you're talking in the right tense and putting commas in the right place. And it's free, which is great. Sorry, our cat is attacking me. So, oh, and you can use it in Google Chrome or in your Gmail or in Microsoft Word. So you can use it kind of everywhere with just one free account, which is awesome.
Josh even uses it in his text. Like I haven't done this yet, but you can put it in your text messages. That way, even your text messages are grammar proof. But yeah, I mean, the thing about fresh eyes, like even if you take like a couple hours, like your brain will trick you into thinking, especially if you missed a word, like maybe you have a sentence and it's missing a word, your brain will trick you into thinking that word is there. And just little things like that, like after you've been looking at it for the same time over and over again. Like I said, applications take a long time usually to fill out. So it's tempting just to hit that submit button. But I promise you, looking at it with fresh eyes and using a free resource like this makes a big difference.
Definitely.
Also follow directions. Again, this seems pretty obvious, but there are sometimes when a question on the application wants an in-depth response. Sometimes it just wants something like really quick, and sometimes it says yes or no. I know someone that failed an important test because it was a true false test, and you were supposed to put an X for false and an O for true. And because he did not follow the directions, he got a 0 on the test. And he will never not follow directions. He will always follow directions. So that applies to applications too. It's just like really read through it, make sure you know what it's talking about. Again, if it asks for sample work or if it asks for 3 references, don't just put 2 references. So make sure that you're actually filling it out completely and thoughtfully. Keep it professional. If you don't have one already, get a professional email address. There's no reason not to have one. It's also a good idea to keep your personal separate from your professional. So go ahead and use a professional name, professional email address. It's going to make a good impression. Clean up your social media posts. Okay, because I know if I've asked you to Google your future employer as a hiring manager, one of the first things I do is I Google who's applying. So if I see something crazy on social media, and by crazy, I just mean like inappropriate, or even if you think it might be offensive, just go ahead and take that down just to be safe. Also, Google yourself. There's probably things out there that you don't even know are out there about you. So Googling yourself is a good tip, and you might learn something that you want to address.
All right, now we've got some frequently asked questions. So like, I know everybody wants to know how much is it pay, right? That's gotta know how much is it pay. Regina said these bills aren't going to pay themselves. So I agree. How much is it going to pay? So in the application part of this, that's hard. You can contact the hiring manager. You have to do it in a very cautious way. So we really recommend just waiting until you get past that application period and wait until you get to the interview. And we're not talking about interviews today, but don't make it your first question either. Like if you're out there doing an interview, don't just be like, hey, what's it pay? So don't do that. So just go through the application. If it's a job that interests you, apply for it. And then see if you get the interview and then wait. You can use things like Glassdoor, or there's other search engines to see what you can expect the range to be. Also, if you see something and if it says like, hey, $15 to $20 an hour, don't expect $20 an hour. Don't like walk in there because it rarely, even as hiring managers, we hire a lot of people. I'm involved a lot with hiring at Baptist too. You very, very, very rarely get the top range. So, and there's a reason for that. That's a whole nother presentation that we're going to do too. Can you apply for more than one job at the organization? So let's say there's several jobs at Baptist. We're going to keep using that. It's tricky. You have to show genuine, we go back to enthusiasm, show genuine enthusiasm for that job. So if it's something that you're really interested in, then apply for it. But otherwise, just wait and limit it to two similar positions, no more than two similar positions. So
yeah, you don't want to be like, hey, I want to work in food services and I also want to work like doing like maintenance tech work, because those are so different.
Yep.
And you can, you know, if they're connected and they're kind of in the same field or in the same department, then that's okay. That makes sense. But if they're totally different, then it's really hard to like show that you're excited about a job when you've hired for like a completely different job.
Yeah, absolutely. Who should you choose for your references? This is always a big one. So not your mom, not your dad, not your best friends. They're just not the best ones, right? So you expect them to say good things about you, hopefully, right? Not whoever, not your cousins. That's not a good one. So really think about people that have managed you or have can say, hey, or a coach. Coaches are really good. So Deidre is a good example. Casey's a good example. People who can vouch for you and say, hey, this person has really done a great job doing X, right? So people, you can also list people who you've worked with. Somebody who's a peer of yours that thinks you have a very strong work ethic. That's a good one too. Should I tell my hiring manager I was fired? This one's a good one. So do not lie. Never lie in an interview. That's the number one worst thing. So, and we'll talk about why you need to not only just tell the truth, but why being fired is important. You don't have to say why you were fired, but if you are asked a direct question, always tell them the truth. And it's really easy to kind of turn this back around and say, I was fired. I made some mistakes. Here's the lessons that I learned from them, and here's how it helped me grow as an individual. And I know that I'm ready to commit to this new job, and I will be a better employee because of it. So there's a quick and easy way to turn it around.
So for example, if you were fired from your job because you had an issue with being there on time, you were tardy all the time, you could just say, unfortunately, I was terminated. I allowed other priorities to affect when I arrived on time. I am much more focused now, and here are the skills for this position that will help me succeed at your company. And so own up to it, say what you learned, and then turn to the positive.
Definitely. Always try to end it on a positive note. And you don't have to include your work experience if you work there less than 6 months. If you were terminated and cannot be rehired, that's always a turnoff. Again, now if you are asked specifically about that, have you ever been terminated from a job that you can't be hired at? You still tell them. You always are honest about it. And then if it's not relevant to the job that you're applying for, and none of the skills can be transferred, then there's no reason to really apply for it either. Let's say that that you were babysitting and now you're wanting to be a welder. There's nothing really there that can kind of transfer, so that you don't really need to think about that kind of stuff. And then this one's always an important question. So Arkansas law tells employers what they can and cannot say about previous employees. So some of those things are how long you were employed, how much you were paid, and what your raises were and things like that. What your job was and what the duties of that job were. Your last written evaluation, and any drug or alcohol tests within 1 year. If you've ever threatened other people or have threatening behavior or harassed others, then they can disclose that. And this is where we get back to the fired part. if you were voluntarily or involuntarily separated from the company. So voluntarily means that you just left, and involuntary means that you were terminated, you were fired, and why you left or were fired. So again, like hiring managers do make phone calls to previous employers sometimes, and if they do, then they can find out if you were or were not telling the truth. And then, of course, if you're eligible to be rehired or not. So,
And this varies from state to state. So this came directly from the Arkansas labor law.
That's true. And
do we have any questions in the chat?
What if they ask? Oh, we do. So Regina said, what if they ask? I'm sure we're talking about, are we talking about if you were terminated? Yes, y'all are. Okay, we got it. Sorry.
Okay.
Bree has no question.
Man, I was about to say, I think it'd be kind of hard to have questions after that. That was thorough, but to the point. That was awesome.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Karen has no question. It's 2 down.
Okay, well, here's the deal. We want to go ahead and put our contact information in the chat. I don't know if you've done that. And then if you guys want to email us, if you have any questions, we'll also make sure that you guys get a copy of this presentation. I know you can look at it live, but if you want a copy of the presentation, we're happy to share that with you. But yeah, feel free to email us. And if you have any questions, and maybe we can set up a time to talk to you or coach you over the phone, we're really happy to do that. And like I said, next week we are doing resumes.
Yes, you guys need to tune in. A resume will set you above so many people. I can't even emphasize that enough. So those of you that are here, if you liked this week, that is awesome. Definitely tune in next week because resumes are a huge deal. And I encourage a lot of my youth to do them. Mine was hard enough for me, so I'm not good at helping other people. So I will be excited to get this information spread out to those who need help with the resume because yeah, super important. Super important. Well, guys, looks like there are no questions. Yes, we are doing this every week, live at 5. Next week, we're going to be doing resumes, super important. And it's always the same Zoom link, and it's always here on the Immerse Overcomers YouTube. So with that, yes, spread the word, spread it out. Everybody tell your friends that they should come and do it. Regina says, nice. Yes, totally agree. All right, well, oh, say it again.
So get used to seeing these faces.
Yep, yeah, guys, good for us. And fortunately, they're going to be around for, a month, 3 months maybe. So it's going to be awesome. Great way to kick off the series. For those of you that tuned in, thank you so much. All of you that attended, this is going to go towards your $25 card to wherever you choose. And then it's also going to put your name in the drawing for the smart TV, which we're giving away at the end of the month. So a lot of good things. I will go ahead and stop us there. To the youth, always miss you guys. Miss getting to do this in person, but for now, because of COVID, Zoom will do. But you guys stay safe, and I will catch you guys next week.